joined by Dr. Dawnté Early, President and CEO for the United Way California Capital Region, and Eden Hirsch, Senior Manager for Education at the United Way California Capital Region. Thank you for joining us.
That and that one's yours. Hi, good morning. Thank you for your patience as they were trying to figure out my computer. It was all my fault. My name is Dr. Dawnté Early. I am, as Anthony said, President and CEO of your local United Way. So, United Way has actually been in this region for 100 years. Not United Way, the global brand, United Way Capital Region, spanning 5 counties and working to build stronger, healthier, compassionate communities here in our region. We serve around 5 counties, and I say around because for us, the region stretches beyond the 5 counties that we serve. But our counties are Amador, Placer, El Dorado, Yolo County, and Sacramento County. And for me, Yolo County holds a very special place in my heart. I raised my son here in Davis, and I am also a West Sacramento resident. Very, very deep roots that I have planted here for my family. So when we think about poverty, I think we often think about the poverty line. And Anthony, you said I could step down, right? Very good, because I feel boxed in. So when we think about poverty, we think about the poverty line. And as many of you know, when you are actually doing your budget, right, and when you're raising your family, it goes beyond simply whether you can afford to buy groceries or not, right? It is your housing. It is whether you can afford to buy food for your family. It is also things like transportation. And of course, for many of us, many of us, we are aware, and I think COVID made us acutely aware, it's also childcare, right? As someone who just signed her child up for childcare through the summer, man, it's really childcare. That is a part of your budget. And so when we talk about poverty, we're not just talking about poverty line, we talk about the real cost measure, which brings all of those things into play. Transportation, housing, food, and childcare. And based on those numbers, right, based on the averages of what it costs, it then says, all right, so what's the real cost measure? What is the real cost for raising a family? 3.5 million households are living below the real cost measure, so it's about 33%. 97% of households below the real cost measure have at least one working adult. And then you have 71% of single moms in California are below the real cost measure, right? And again, when we think about what are the things that we need in order to be able to raise our families, 54% of households with children under 6 are struggling, and we know that's really important when we think about those fundamental years, 0 to 5, right? And the things that matter and the things you need in order to ensure that kids are able to thrive from that. And then 79% of heads of households who work employed full-time jobs year-round. And so, it's got to catch up. To achieve economic security, a family of 4 would need to hold more than 2.5 full-time minimum wage jobs. That's minimum wage being paid at $15 an hour. That is, again, a family of 4, right? You have 1 school-age child and then working adult. And so for us, ending poverty starts at square one. Starts in schools, helping every child, again, to grow, live, right, and play. thrive. It's probably going to take a minute to catch up. Okay, but we realize that children aren't coming to school, right? And that's the only place that they're at. Right? Children are coming from households. It's a whole community, a whole ecosystem that children are coming from in order to be successful. And so in order to start square one and start with kids and start with children, we also have to make sure that we're also investing in families. So what does that look like? So we have our direct investment program, and I'll talk about that. We also have our free tax prep program. And hold on, it jumped ahead. We have our digital equity program, and we have our foster youth program. We're going to talk about some of these. So United Way actually has started the first guaranteed income program in Sacramento County. It was based on former Mayor Tubbs' SEED program, so their guaranteed income in Stockton. How many people are familiar with that guaranteed? Okay, so I see some hands. So out of Stockton, what we saw was what happens. It was a social experiment you can think of. What happens when you provide individuals, no strings attached, money every single month to just meet their needs, right? And this idea that individuals know what they need. And it's not a matter of that folks aren't working hard enough and don't have the necessary skills or education, but that there are systems that have been put in place and that poverty is part of that system. And if you interrupt that system, right? Think intervention. If you interrupt that system, then it gives individuals the time and space they need to actually figure out, how do you get out of poverty? When you think about it, poverty is not only expensive, it is debilitating, right? I mean, it's constant thoughts about how are you going to pay your rent? How are you going to feed your kids, right? How are you going to fix your car that just broke down? How are you, right? Multiple jobs. We just got done seeing you have to work about 2.5 jobs in order to just meet the basic needs for a house of 4. What they saw out of that program was folks use the money, right? Again, no strings attached, to pay for childcare, right? Big surprise, especially when you had the majority of those households led by women. That's what we do, right? We invest back into our families. We invest back into our children. They paid for food. They paid for additional training in order to upskill, right? You saw folks graduate from school. Because when you think about it, now that you don't have to work potentially an additional job, that gives you the space you need to actually train, get those additional needs met. And then they also saw that women got out of domestic violence situations because you now have a little bit more financial stability and security. So in July of 2021, we said, let's see what happens. And so United Way started, again, the first guaranteed basic income program in Sacramento County. We did it with 100 households, and we said, okay, let's do $300 a month. $300 a month for 2 years. We are now about a year in, and we have already had individuals in our program graduate from school, Sac State. It's really amazing what happens when you just give people the space that they need. And it's a change, right? Because remember, this is no strings attached. And so oftentimes I'll hear, wait a minute, so you're not going to require this, you're not going to require that. No, it really is this idea that you as an individual have the agency to know what it takes, right? Who can better stretch, right? $1, than someone who's had to stretch $1, right? Who can better budget? So we see here, this is actually a quote from one of our participants. The money gave me the opportunity to pay out some of my bills, help me catch up on my rent, put extra food on the table for my kids. 72% of our participants are women and people of color. And then 86% of our participants indicate that they can't pay cash or equivalent for an unexpected $400 expense. Even more, 33% of our participants are working multiple jobs, like we just talked about, right? And so this isn't a matter of deservedness or someone who's not working. These are folks who are already working hard. We also talked about our free tax program. So our free tax program runs across our 5 counties. That is roughly 2.4 million folks across those 5 counties. This year, because tax season just ended, this year we filed 5,635 tax returns in total. It's a lot, right? This is free. It was funny when I got this job, and I said, fight a tax program. Oh, gosh. You know, I remember going to UC Davis, having my son never filing taxes before, and my mom saying, you really got to file taxes. Come on, Dawnté. I was like, oh, but I'm not really working. I'm definitely not working enough, right, to file taxes. And my mom was like, yeah, but you have money sitting on the table for you. I was like, okay, well, where would I even start? So the first year I filed taxes, I went to H&R Block. They were great, right? But it cost money. I was like, this makes no sense. I just paid to get money back. And then my mom was like, no, there are free programs that you could go to. Funny enough, the second year I filed taxes in Davis, guess who it was with? It was with the VITA tax program. I mean, it's crazy. For me, it's just full circle. And every year after that, while I needed it, I would go back to the Davis Senior Center, and I would file my taxes, and it would be like an infusion of cash so that I could pay for childcare, right? Because again, I was a young mom, and pay for food, pay for my rent, because even then, rent was expensive. I couldn't imagine living now, right? Refunds, $9.5 million this year we helped across our 5 counties bring. That was money infused back into households that needed it, back into households like the ones I was living in. $1.5 million was saved. $1.5 million was saved in tax prep programs. Remember, my first year, I paid to get my taxes done, right? And didn't have to and shouldn't have to. And that's what we provide, is a little bit, right, of that financial security, just a little bit of financial stability. We trained 150 volunteers and 7,700 volunteer hours. In Yolo, because we are in Yolo, we filed 1,756 tax returns. $4.2 million in returns came back to our county, and $351,200 was saved in tax prep services. It's huge when you think about it, right? $4.2 million was put back into our community for taxes, right? Digital equity. So we work with a partner here in Yolo County in West Sacramento, specifically. This slide might go on me, by the way, so we'll flip back and we'll play it by ear. But I think one of the things we saw in COVID was this digital divide, right? I'll take you back, a little bit more back, right? You are just hearing about this virus that's coming, right? Toilet paper is flying off the shelves, who knew? And you potentially have a child, and your child, you just got a call, and it was just like, don't bring your kid back, right? And you're a parent, you're like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Now for me, my daughter had a tablet. She had 2 computers because her grandparents are now in a place where they can help and they want to, right? She has both of her grandparents. And so we were like, okay, this is gonna be hard, but we're gonna make this work, right? My job had me staying home, my husband had his job. So there were oftentimes I wanted to hide underneath the table, but we figured out how to make it work. Now, picture you don't have any of those resources, right? There's no internet. You have not a tablet, not a phone, not a computer in sight, and you are like, and your child and you have no access to employment, and you have no access to education, or quite frankly, the world, right? Because the world stopped and we all just went online. For many, many people, many communities of color, in fact, that was the reality. And we saw that. And that's what, right, COVID laid bare for us, all of the social ills, the social determinants, the inequities. And so we started our digital equity program. We have partnered with City of Sacramento, with SMUD, City of Rancho Cordova, and then also thanks to advocacy that we do with donors, have been able to provide over 1,000 computers, 400 hotspots, 240 tablets, and we continue to build on that throughout the region. Right now, this program is in Sacramento County. Again, our partner is here in Yolo County, and we are wanting to grow this because we know even though we, right, the rest of the world are slowly coming out of COVID, those social ills still remain. I did a lot of talking, so we're going to switch it up.
Yeah, I will take the clicker. Hello, thank you for joining us today, and thanks, Dr. Dawnté, for sharing all of that. My name is Hirsch. I'm the Senior Manager of Education for United Way, and so I personally think I have the most fun job at our organization because I get to work with schools, I get to see kids. I've seen less of them in the last 2 years or so through computer screens, but at United Way, education is really important to us. Our Square One approach is all about starting at that beginning stage of life to make sure that kids are successful in that beginning stage and they continue to be successful throughout their lives. So some of the ways we do that here at our organization, we're creating partnerships with funders and nonprofits in all the counties we serve, Yolo County, Sacramento County, and beyond. And we make sure we're advocating for resources at the state and federal level. So we want to see long and lasting change in the schools that we work with. So I'm going to get into a little bit of the programs and efforts that we have in regards to education. Oh, it switched by itself. So some of the programs that we are currently offering in Sacramento County and Yolo County, we have our STARS literacy tutoring program, our kindergarten to college program, we have Kinder Camp, which is a kindergarten readiness program, Woodland Kids Read, which I'm sure a lot of you are aware of, and our Dolly Parton Imagination Library Partnership. So I'm going to get into a little bit of those. One of the main reasons that we support education and find it particularly pressing right now, I know Dr. Dawnté Early talked a little bit about COVID and the different stressors that we experienced during this unprecedented pandemic era. And one of those things that our kids have experienced is extreme levels of learning loss. All students experience disruptions during this time, but students who were already behind in math and English experienced even more severe setbacks. So it's especially pressing that we try and provide as many supports as we can during this time to our kiddos. It has been studied that this disrupted learning could affect overall future earning potential for our kids in the amount of about $49,000 to $61,000 less over their lifetime. So it is interesting when you extrapolate it out because it makes a huge difference, these supports that we give our kids early on. By the end of the 2021 school year, students were on average 4 months behind in reading and 5 months behind in math just from doing distance learning and not being in the classroom. This increased to 6 months behind in reading and 7 months behind in math for families that were under the poverty line in income. And on average, Black and Latino students were 2 to 3 months more behind than their white peers. So it is very, very important that we address these things. So one of the ways that we are doing that is our STARS literacy tutoring program. STARS stands for Students and Tutors Achieving Reading Success. We made a quick pivot in 2020. Prior to that, we were doing in-person literacy tutoring. And, well, COVID happened and we couldn't go on campus anymore. Our volunteers couldn't be on campus. So we had to quickly decide how to continue supporting these students in this new environment. And STARS was born. So as of right now, STARS is a completely virtual literacy tutoring program. It is almost completely supported by volunteer tutors that sign on computers to guide kids through an online portal where they work on games that help support their comprehension, their vocabulary, and their fluency. We are partnered right now in 2 school districts, so Robla Unified School District in Sacramento County and Woodland Joint Unified School District here in Yolo County. We are in after-school programs, so a total of 7 after-school programs throughout those 2 counties. We are also in 3 community-based housing organizations and their after-school programs in Sacramento County, and 4 in Yolo County. And those are through a partnership with CHOC, which is Community Housing Opportunities Corporation. They're great. If you don't know them, check them out. In total, we have 81 active students right now, 52 amazing, amazing volunteers. I can't stress that enough. Our volunteers are fantastic. They commit to an hour a week per student, and many of them do multiple students. They've navigated us building this program, learning this program. They have struggled with the technology with us, which has been really challenging. I think we're all tired and exhausted of meeting over Zoom screens, which is why I'm very happy that I could be here in person with you guys today. In total, we have over 1,000 sessions done for this year, and we are not done yet. We have about a month left. And on average, students who are participating in this program, it runs about 7 to 8 months long. They gain 1.5 reading levels, so it works. We have many students that participate in the program that are well below grade level and end up either at or above grade level by the time they're done. And that's our goal. Students who are not at reading level by the time they hit 4th grade are going to continue falling behind in all other subjects. Up until 3rd grade, a student is learning how to read. After 3rd grade, they are reading to learn. So if they don't have those skills in place by the time they hit 4th grade, everything else gets harder to learn because reading is a part of everything we do. Another program that we offer to support kids, and this is kind of straddles the education and the financial piece of it, is our kindergarten to college program. This is a program that we started in partnership with school districts and the city of Sacramento to seed some college accounts for kids and families so that they could start saving money beginning in kindergarten for college. It was shown that early investments in kids, even just saying that you are investing them, even at kindergarten, boost their motivation across the board. And families who even have a little bit of money in a savings account in the very beginning are more likely to save over time. So we have 748 accounts through kindergarten to college, and each of those counts has been seeded with $100. Financial workshops are a part of this effort, so parents and families can participate in workshops, learn about how to save better. There's incentives to maybe get some extra money added to those accounts. And then Golden One offers one-on-one financial coaching if they would like as well. This is just going on its own. This is awesome. I don't even need this. Kinder Camp. So this is a program that is in Woodland, here in Woodland. It's been going on for a while, and it's one of my favorite programs. It's super awesome. The goal behind Kinder Camp is that nearly 50% of 3- and 4-year-olds who are getting ready to go into kindergarten don't have the opportunity to experience preschool beforehand. If kids don't go to preschool before they hit kindergarten, they are at a disadvantage. They don't have often the social emotional experience of what it's like to be in a classroom with other kids. I think that we forget that throwing a kid into a classroom is like a whole level of training. They have to learn how to sit and be quiet. They have to learn how to focus on tasks for an extended period of time. And it can be really difficult if you've never done that before. Also, you have to learn how to share your toys and communicate with other kids your age. And maybe some kids don't have that. Some have siblings at home, I'm sure. But it's different. So kinder camp is an opportunity for those kids to experience those things before they go into kindergarten, which increases their chance for success. We, the past 2 years, have done kinder camp, albeit in modified capacity. So year before last, it was completely virtual. We just provided the incoming kinders with kits of supplies they needed for their upcoming school year. Last year, they were in person, but it was only a week. And this year, we're ramping back up to 4 weeks during the summer, during summer school. It's going to be at Freeman Elementary. And we have a lot of great partners with the kinder camp program. So not only are the kids there learning how to be in school, the curriculum is led by our partnership with YMCA. But we also partner with Empower Yolo to provide behavioral health assessments for families, just to, again, get ahead of those issues before they further negatively impact any other things. We also partner with Yolo Food Bank, so we offer a kids' farmers market during kinder camp as well. So the kids come and they learn about, fresh fruits and vegetables, and they get to take a bunch of it home to their family. They create little fake wallets with fake money in it, and they actually pay Yolo Food Bank for the food, and it's really, really cute. It's one of the best events that we have. It's always gets the best pictures, and the kids are always having a great time. And we are looking for volunteers for those things, so if you are interested. So that's a little bit about kinder camp. Woodland Kids Read is an event that also happens in Woodland, here locally. It's a once-a-year event, and the goal of Woodland Kids Read is really to make reading fun. Let's make reading a party, and that's kind of what Woodland Kids Read is. We invite everyone in the community to come out. We get celebrity readers to read books to kids and really help amp up that experience. That reading doesn't have to just be boring or for school or educational, but it can be a wild journey or a fun ride, or there can be imagination involved and costumes involved and all of those really fun things. Woodland Kids Read serves over 4,000 first graders, and each first grader walks away with some personalized hardcover books. So they walk away with books for their library. They also get books during kinder camp. We try and give these kids as many, many books as we can. And speaking of books, we have Dolly Parton's Imagination Library Partnership, and that's in Yolo County. We are partnered currently with Yolo County Health and Human Services, as well as the Yolo County Libraries to help support this effort. And I love this one. So basically, Dolly Parton started this project a long time ago where she decided that kids need books. And that's a running theme in our organization. So she set up this foundation, this library, and basically we sign kids up. They can be anywhere from 0 to 5 years old. And once they sign up, they will get a book a month for however long that time is, so 0 to 5. So if they sign up when they're 0, they will get a book a month for those first 5 years of their life. So talk about really building an awesome personal library. And the books are great, they're brand new, they're awesome quality, they're diverse. So super great program. And up until this point, we have signed up over 3,500 kids and given out nearly 30,000 books. So that's really awesome and something that we're really proud of. And I think I will be calling Dr. Dawnté Early back up here. So thank you very much. If you have any questions about any of those programs, feel free to ask me later.
I think we're about to do this together, right? You can get that ready? Potentially. Okay, so as you heard, we do a lot of work in Yolo County already. We didn't touch on it, but during COVID, we also put out COVID relief dollars, $107,000 roughly, to around 215 families. I think it's really important to see with our free tax program. I should really also call out that we partner with the Yolo County Children's Alliance. They are our really good partner, not only on this, but other projects. During this past Christmas, we had a pretty big cash donation to Capital Region. It was $65,000. And it happened, I think it was maybe a week before Christmas. And what they said was, hey, please give this money out to families who need it before the holiday, right? We just want to offer something and some sort of relief, right? We know this has been just really hard. And so I called up the executive director for Yolo County Children's Alliance, and I said, hey, so we're going to spread out this money, but I know you've got this toy drive that you're doing for families in need in Yolo County. And they were like, yeah, I think we could do this. And so we put $100 and a lot of cards and cash, and we surprised folks and gave out $50,000 in cash in a matter of, I think it might have been 3 hours, just as people were coming in. It was, families getting toys, getting food, and then also just getting, remember, just that little bit extra. We heard from families in Yolo County as they were getting it, because we were like, open it. Because one thing, I don't know about you, especially during Christmas, you get a lot of cards, right? They don't all get opened. So we were like, no, don't. Go ahead and open it now. We want to make sure, right? Because again, it's cash money. Wasn't a gift card. And it was amazing and joyful to see and hear what families were going to use that money for here in Yolo County, right? It was like, I heard some stories of folks who were, again, because this was a drive-through, I wasn't sure how I was going to put gas in my car after this, right? Thank you so much. We heard stories of, oh my gosh, you just made this Christmas so special for my kids. Or even, now I've got enough money to pay for food for this week. I mean, the stories ranged. But that is part of the partnership. That is part of the strength of what we hopefully are trying to do here in Yolo County, which is where are the needs and how do we bridge those needs? And how do we do that through partnerships? So after 2 years worth of listening sessions, the past couple of years, and hearing what the community members, community groups, community partners have said they wanted, some of the things we heard was to expand more schools and student services and expand those. And so we have STARS, and Eden, actually I should be sharing the mic with you. Is your mic working?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. You start and I'll follow up.
So this is just about what we're doing next. So STARS, we are going to be expanding it to more schools and students in Yolo County. We want to expand our presence in Woodland Joint Unified School District. We're currently in 4 schools. We would like to be in all of them, but more next year. We are exploring partnerships with Washington Unified School District as well for our STARS program, so hoping to be in the 4 schools in that district that fall into the categories. We're exploring a partnership with Yolo County Libraries to offer the STARS program so that it can be more of a drop-in experience, and if families want it for the kids, they have somewhere they can go to get it, not just reliant on it being in their district. And we're also exploring a partnership with YMCA youth groups in Yolo County as well. Again, more drop-in sites. Kinder Camp, we love the model. It works really well. We want to expand it to more rural districts in Yolo County so that even more kiddos have experience before they go into kindergarten. And then do you want to touch on digital equity?
Yeah, so I'd probably say 2 things. One, Kinder Camp is near and dear to my heart because I know getting ready for kindergarten is so important. The child developmentalist in me knows that. And so trying to figure out where is the need for us, I think, is just hugely important, whether that be potentially in Clarksburg or some of our other areas, and hopeful that we can find some partnerships there. One of the things that you will often hear, and we didn't really, I think, emphasize it with this presentation, but I do want to make sure I take a moment, is that it's important to us that we are providing services and starting with kids and families, but also that we are supporting schools. I think one of the things that we saw during COVID was so many things were expected of our teachers and our administrative staff, right? I mean, the full weight and burden of supporting families came on our schools and school districts. And as we come out of COVID and we say, hey, can we just go back to what it was? I often say, like, no, we don't want to just go back to the way it was for a myriad of reasons, right? But the other is, how do we as a community actually support our schools, right? They're in the way that they have supported us and our families. And so for our STARS program and for our other programs, one of the things is us coming in and saying, hey, how can we help, right? We're going to help the kids, but we're also going to help teachers, right? So we'll go to where you are through our chalk program, right? And so we'll go to your housing, but we'll also, and then pre-COVID, and we hope to get to this model as well, is we offer a teacher's aid, right? And so you can pull kids out and have some support there, but then the teacher also has support through volunteers. We're always looking for volunteers. Most of my team at our organization volunteers. It always makes me so happy to see the little kiddos on the screen, right, talking, because what you get with these volunteers is not only reading support, you also get emotional and social emotional support as well, because they're engaging with someone who cares about them. And that's one of the things that is so important about this program.
Yeah, so Dr. Dawnté Early mentioned supporting schools, and that's something, again, that we feel really passionate about. We feel very strongly about a whole child approach, and so we want to act as a convener and a catalyst for community school supports. There's tons of funding that are coming into the state for communities in school, and we want to put as much of that money into the communities that we serve as possible. We're already exploring a partnership with Washington Unified in regards to this effort. We help them write their community school grant, and we're hoping to help act as the catalyst to get their community schools even stronger and even more integrated into the resources that are available to them for their kids. And again, we want to get as much of that money into the community as possible, whether that's through school districts, whether that's through partnerships with the county offices of education. There's lots of avenues in which to do that, and we have the expertise too. So,
I'm going to add just again, because I'm unsure of how many folks know the approach for community schools, but it really is this idea that schools are the center of the community, right? They are the hub, the heart of many of our communities. And so when you think about, as a parent, where you're most likely going, right, to drop off your child, you could also be provided services there as well. So how do you reach not only the child, but remember, whole child approach, also the family that they're coming from. And so it can be a place where you also get connected to other services throughout the community, whether that be health services, both physical and mental health, whether that be transportational services, housing services, but that is the community schools approach, is that you can get and support the entire family, and schools can do that. But remember what we just said, it's not that it's only the schools working alone. It is the community supporting the schools. And there is a lot of money right now and grants that are coming out for us to figure out how do we go about doing that in order to make sure we're not burdening the schools, but actually uplifting the entire community. And that really is this whole child approach. I can do this one.
Yeah, go for it.
You can see we practiced a lot. So again, our square one approach is starting right with children and families, and we would love for you to be a part of this. Obviously, you can be a part by donating to support childhood literacy, digital equity, right? Guaranteed income in order to support whole families. But you also could give of your time. Again, I love volunteering. If you ever see me in the community, and you may have, it just lights my heart to give to my community, both families, family members, and just community in general. And so you can volunteer through our STARS program, but we also run a volunteer program. Last Saturday, we actually just did Rock the Block, and we brought a whole bunch of folks rehabbing houses. And so we often have monthly opportunities to volunteer outside of just supporting our childhood literacy, even though I will continue to pump that. And then we have action groups. We have our Women's United. We also have our Young Leaders, in which we come together for, again, an issue that's really important to us. Young Leader Society supports our digital equity program, and that is one of the things they raise money for, they network for. And then our Women's United actually supports our foster youth IDA program, in which we raise money to ensure that as youth are transitioning out of the foster system, they have a savings account, typically about $1,000 that they're starting their life off with. And we raise a lot of money for those youth as well, some of which those youth are coming from Yolo County.
That's that.
And that's us. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
for listening.
Do we have time for questions?
Yeah. Are there any questions? No?
Okay, I'm gonna start here and then go here. I'm looking at, is it Selena? There you go, that's okay.
Hi. For the Imagination Library, do we have families sign up at the libraries?
Yeah, so families can go to the libraries to sign up. They can also go directly on our website. So if you go to yourlocalunitedway.org, go to Dolly Parton Imagination Library, there is an area to sign up, and that'll get filtered right through us. If they want to do it in person and talk to someone about it, they can go to their local Yolo County Library branch, and they should be able to help them.
Thank you.
My question is if you know how the STAR participants compare to their non-participant peers, as far as the grade increase level, reading level?
I don't have that exact data. What I do know is that the students who are referred to our STARS program are students that are in need of Tier 2 support. So they are in need of minor intervention. So in terms of dosage and intensity, really that 2 days a week for 30 minutes a day tutoring. There are students that are in need of more intense intervention that are more like a few grade levels behind, and those students are not the best fit for STARS because of our dosage and the amount in which we tutor. Those students are more in line for like a 5-day-a-week intervention. So I don't have the comparative data. I know that the students that we serve are a little bit behind the peers that are at benchmark. So we're trying to get them into that group. So there's still gonna be kids that are in need of more intense intervention, but I don't have that data right now.
So what I would also add to that is we are, I would say, serving the kids that are potentially on the cusp or right under, versus what you have oftentimes with when you're thinking about the supports that are offered in school are you have those, right, who haven't quite failed yet or who have failed, right, in regards to like a fail first model. And so you are focusing on, as teachers, and understandably so, those who need immediate supports right then, right? And kids who are sometimes in the middle, we offer that support so that they don't get to the point where they're needing those more intensive services.
Yeah, and a lot of time those students can present like they're doing okay, right? Like they can code and they can fake it and they can get through it. And so they might not necessarily be failing yet, but if we keep letting them go, then by the time they're in 5th grade and 6th grade, they're just gonna not know, and then they're gonna drop out in high school. So it's a cycle. So yeah, those are the students that we're trying to make sure are seen and not left behind, essentially.
But that is an excellent question, and that's something we will grab too. You had a question? I don't think you want this mic.
No, I was gonna say, let's switch.
Okay. Here, I'll give it to him. I'll give it to him only so it doesn't echo.
Oh, yeah, thanks. I have a question about the $300 a month payment. I understand there's no strings attached. Are there like ongoing conversations or periodic conversations with your folks and the individuals to kind of be a resource or to see how it's going, or is it completely hands-off or somewhere in between?
That's an excellent question. So we actually have an evaluation that we are starting in the next month or so. We're partnering with Sac State. We are going to pull in our cohort 1, which are the families that have been going for about a year and have another year left. And then we are also building on our direct investment program in Sacramento with City of Sacramento. City of Sacramento is seeding $750,000. We are going to, instead of $300, offer $500 a month for the next 18 months. We are going to start the beginning in evaluating those families, and as long as we have an evaluator, we're also going to pull in those other 100 families. We do have qualitative data from the families regarding what supports they might need, as well as their goals, because we ask them when they start, hey, what do you imagine will happen at the end of this 2 years, and what would be success, and what would that look like for you? And so we have some of that data, which is why we're able to collect some of the stories ongoing, but we are going to have more of a rigorous evaluation moving forward. Any other questions? Thank you guys so much for your time.
Yes,
We really
thank you.
appreciate you. Don't forget to volunteer.